and being with Soler Çağatay, an old friend of mine who only spent 2.5 years in Washington, D.C., and he invited me in several occasions in D.C., and I am really very happy here. But talking after Soner is very difficult because he is a graduate of Yale, and I am not graduate in a university. So my English and my understanding is will be a little bit weak. Okay, I want to today I want to talk about mainly the relationship between the political power and the AK Party government and the Fethullah Gülen community. But first, let me say that according to my observation, in Turkey, you cannot hear?
Yeah, can't hear.
Turkey politics, in Turkey's political life is dependent on three main powers. This center of power. For me, the first one, of course, the government mainly means Recep Tayyip Erdogan, the actual president of the republic. The second one is Fethullah Gülen community and Fethullah Gülen himself. And third one is Kurdish political movement and its leader Abdullah Öcalan. And Turkey's political life is mainly determined by the interaction of these three powers. And when we look at the map of this interaction history, we observe that Erdogan and Gülen once allies and now enemies. Erdogan and Öcalan once enemies, but for a while negotiating for the peace process. And Gülen and Öcalan always enemies. They don't like each other, and there is no sign of reconciliation in their relationship. And when I look at the recent history of Turkey's politics, and when I'm looking at graphics of the powers of these three actors, I observe that Erdogan's powers is kind of up and down. Especially Erdogan, as everybody knows, he knows how to win the election. He knows politics. He is the best politician of Turkey, and maybe in the legal politics, he has not an alternative. And when we look at this history of Gülen, now he is down. He is going down, and he will be going down. I observe that. And Abdullah Öcalan is always up. It's really very interesting that now in Turkey we are witnessing the golden age of Turkish political movement. So now what we are living because of Kobani resistance, all of this crisis is because of this two big powers, and they cannot really negotiate, they cannot really find out a way of understanding, because the Kobani is a very important step for Turkish political movement, which Tayyip Erdogan and AK Party don't like very much. But I don't want to focus on in my speech this Kurdish political movement. Maybe later, if there were a question, we can discuss it. I want to talk a little bit about this. What happened between Erdogan and Gülen? I think that everybody is aware who is, of course, everybody knows Erdogan, but I think also that people know about Gülen and his community. Is there really global community, and maybe the biggest existence of this community may be United Kingdom, and but we know that in the United Kingdom also the community is very strong. But when I was in Iraqi Kurdistan, I observed that this really, in Iraqi Kurdistan, for example, this Gülen community is really very active. And they have a university, they have several schools, high schools, elementary schools, maternal schools, etc. And they are really very welcome because they exist there, for example, since 1992, when there was not an autonomous Kurdistan state there, when Kurdistan was not existing, they were there. And these are really very important global community, but very strong in Turkey. Normally, Gülen and Tayyip Erdogan, they are all part of the Islamic movement of Turkey. But as you know, being Islamic doesn't mean that you are always friends and brothers and sisters. And we know that within Islamic movement everywhere there are huge disputes and warfare. For example, CEFTUS creation in Syria, different factions, Islamist factions, are killing each other, Al-Qaeda and ISIS. And here, in our case, Gülen communities and the movement of Tayyip Erdogan, the political movement of Tayyip Erdogan called Milli Görüş, National Vision movement, they never liked each other. They never trust each other. And they were totally, their approach, Islamic approach, was totally different. I can sum up the difference like this. Gülen, for Tayyip Erdogan and his followers, the problems of Muslim world, including Turkey, are mainly because of the West. And in order to solve this problem, the Muslims first should unify and then challenge the West. The methodology or the strategy of Tayyip Erdogan or his movement is gathering the Muslims against the West. But when we look at Fethullah Gülen, according to his understanding, according to his vision, the problems of Muslim world are mainly because of the Muslims themselves, not because of the West. And in order to solve this problem, Muslims should get the direct help and assistance of the West, and Muslims should challenge the Muslim institution, change this institution according to the criteria of the West. So these are totally two different approach of the world. But in 2007, when the army tried the last time to intervene into the politics because of this presidential election, Abdullah Gül was the candidate of AK Party for the presidency, and the military intervened and they declared openly through the website of the Turkish army that they would not accept this kind of non-laic, non-secular presidency. And it was a direct intervention into the politics. And then we have seen that after the election of 2007, Fethullah Gülen community and AK Party government made a coalition against the army. Not only against the army, but first of all the army, but all power brokers, all elites of Turkey. And Fethullah Gülen community was and still well organized in state bureaucracy, especially in security bureaucracy, in police forces, and in justice. And they, with the government, with the political support of the government, they made a good coalition against the army and other old power brokers. As you know, the trials of Ergenekon, Barrios, and so on. They first arrested former militaries and then actual militaries. And so many supporters, including journalists, other kinds of intellectuals, business persons, etc. And with this, all of these trials and investigation, and really new Turkey occurred. The old one had to leave their power because of this juridical process, and the new Turkey has been established by the cooperation of Gülen communities and the AK Party government. But this coalition didn't last too much, and the first big moment of the crisis is February 7th of 2012. And prosecutor, person knew him as the name, a young prosecutor, tried to arrest the president of National Intelligence Service, the old former president, former head, and the actual head of this intelligence service, and who are very close persons to Prime Minister Tayyip Erdogan. And then Tayyip Erdogan declared that the real aim of this investigation was himself. First, Hakan Fidan, the head, and then himself. And that was, it happened just after the medical operation of Tayyip Erdogan, and a few days after of his personal medical operation. But Tayyip Erdogan saved his man from justice. He changed the law, and he protected the head of the intelligence service. But that was the first declaration of war. Why they began to fight each other? I may say that there's the kind of, once they pushed away their enemies, they became their own enemy. So this is a real power struggle. They solved this question of the old Turkey, but for the new Turkey, both sides wanted biggest share. But after the elimination of the army and the old power brokers, the AK Party government wanted the community, Fethullah Gülen community, to return back to its main activities like education and media, etc. And not interfering to the politics anymore, because the mission is completed, so there is no need of the community for the community of the intervention of into the politics. But the community didn't accept it. And after that, we know that in autumn, during the autumn of 2013, Tayyip Erdogan declared that the government would close all of prep schools in Turkey. When we say prep schools in Turkey, we know that the prep school in Turkey is much more controlled by Gülen community. When you close the prep school, it means that you are attacking the Gülen community. And they also said that this is a direct attack to themselves. And with this decision of Tayyip Erdogan decision of closing the prep school, the fight again begin again. That was the second moment. And the last moment is, everybody knows it, is December 17 and 25, this investigation of corruption and bribery. And these two investigations were really aiming Tayyip Erdogan himself. And it was really very clear and open, because first some ministers, and then especially the second investigation, the 25th one, was aiming his son, Bilal, and his very close friend, some businessmen who are very close friends of him. And it was aiming his encounters and his family. But Tayyip Erdogan, in this attack, he survived. And after the survival, he began to attack now against the community. We know that we had two elections. First, the local elections. Local elections happened under this bribery investigation. All of the speculation of the bribery investigation, and it was a success for AK Party, governmental party. So it showed that this kind of accusation, blaming of government is not enough for eliminating Tayyip Erdogan, because he knows really very well the politics. And the community couldn't find, the Iran community couldn't find a real political party. They tried to work with CHP, main opposition party, and also MHP, but their strategy in the local election was uniquely voting everybody else than governmental party. For example, in Istanbul, who is the best alternative to governmental party? Mustafa Sarıgül of CHP. Okay, voting for Sarıgül. But in Anatolia, who is the best alternative for AK Party's candidate for the mayorship? These people from MHP. So they voted for MHP. Only they didn't support the Kurdish political movement. They didn't support. Because they always consider this party as enemy. And then presidential election. And presidential election, the local election, I call it as a success, but presidential election is a victory. Victory for Tayyip Erdogan. He has been elected at the first term. And recently, during the speech of Tayyip Erdogan for the opening of the Turkish parliament, he summed up the situation like this. With these two elections, Turkish society eliminated this Gülen community politically. And the political elimination of the Gülen community is up, it's finished. Now that is the turn of juridical elimination. Now they push the button of eliminating the community from any bureaucratic corner. And there will be for the next meeting of National Security Council, Tayyip Erdogan said that for the next National Security Council meeting, they will decide new measures against the community, and now we are waiting for them. And finishing here, the war has not yet ended, because the community is still very strong, still exists in the bureaucracy, and they have a very powerful media in Turkey, and they have really very good connection in the global atmosphere, global sphere. And on the other hand, the Western powers, the Western centers, are closer to community than the government. When you look at the Western media, the coverage of Western media, for example, during this investigation of the bribery and the corruption, all coverage, I think, what we think about it, all coverage was against the government, and the Western media accepted the allegations as true, and they never touched, they never asked questions about the existence of Yunan community within the state. I am calling state within state, but Cakir is calling as parallel system. This is the reality. And I'm finishing with my view of the power struggle. I am not taking part for this power struggle, and I am not advising for anybody to take part in this power struggle, but I can sum up my opinion like this. The accusation of both sides are true, but the defense of both sides are false. So, supporting both sides when they are blaming others, but keeping always some distance when both sides are defending themselves. Okay, thank you.